you have studied about simple and compound and complex sentences. And then last week we looked at some common errors that come from making mistakes with simple, compound, and complex sentences. So now I want to move to the next step, which is editing your paragraphs and essays, thinking about the 3 sentence types. Okay, so you want to have simple, compound, and complex sentences. That's what we call sentence variety. So a good paragraph always has a mix of simple, compound, and complex. If you have too many simple sentences, your writing will sound very choppy. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. That's the rhythm of a simple sentence. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. So if all of your sentences have that simple structure, it sounds almost robotic, okay? And then when you have too many complex sentences, you start to get confusing. It's too many ideas put together. So it goes back to what we were talking about before, about making sure you're very clear to help the reader understand, right? So you want some simple, you want some compound, you want some complex all together. And then besides sentence variety, thinking about simple, compound, and complex sentences will help you avoid sentence errors. So if you make sure that every sentence is simple, compound, or complex, you'll avoid fragments, you'll avoid run-ons, you'll avoid comma splices, those problems we talked about last time. So you don't even really need to know what those problems are called if you just know how to avoid them in the first place or fix them. And then it also helps you know how to use punctuation correctly. So where you're going to put those commas and periods. All right. So we're going to look at some excerpts, some pieces from one of your last assignments, which was a summary response to an article. Licia Bushak, in her article, Your Addiction to Processed Food, explains the side effects of processed food on our health, as this works like a drug for our body. So what kind of sentence is that? This is going to be complex because we have as. So this is the same meaning as because or since. Right? Our desire to eat pizza or ice cream is a bad habit for our health. This is similar to drinking of alcohol. What kind of sentence is that? Well, here is a simple sentence. Here is a simple sentence, and it's joined by a comma. This is actually a comma splice error. So, you can't join 2 sentences with a comma. You have to either add a fanboy here, make a compound sentence, or put a period. I think a period works just fine. So now we have 2 simple sentences. The new case results are very alarming for us because people get obese due to the foods which are rich in sodium, sugar, and fat. What kind of sentence is that? Complex, right? So we have this because. So we have an independent clause first, a dependent clause second. So that means no comma right here. And then we just have our commas in our list of 3. So that's good. And we have good sentence variety now. We have compound, simple, simple, compound. Sorry, complex. All right, let's look at another example. Processed food high in fat, salt, and sugar. Fat and salt and sugars create some kind of reaction in our brain that makes us want more. It means it is addictive. Okay, What kind of sentence is this? We have a simple sentence. We have a simple sentence. And we have a comma in the middle. What are we going to do here? Just put a period. So that was a comma splice error. We're just fixing it by making simple sentences. Now this is not a very choppy simple sentence because we have this part right here. High in fat, salt, and sugar. So we have a list here. But this is not a good list because you don't put and, right? So processed food high in fat, salt, and sugar. So we want to make a good list of 3 where we have our comma and. Okay? So let's keep going. Processed food high in fat, sugar creates some kind of reaction in our brain that makes us want more. It means it is addictive and become an obese person with a passive time. Okay, so this is also a simple sentence, but what's wrong? This is a verb, but there's no subject. So we need a subject here. What subject could we use? We. Oh, it says an obese person. That's 1. So let's just make it match. So we become, sorry, computer's being weird. Obese people with a passive time. After tasting the first bite of food, it is very difficult for some human being to say no to the second bite, creating a bad behavior. Okay, so that one is just fine. We won't get into what kind of sentence that is because it's a little complicated, but it is correct. Okay, but if you notice, we do have simple, simple, simple. So we could do something to fix that. We could change this into a compound sentence, right? So then we have compound simple. Okay, example number 3. In the article, Bouchak shows that processed food is addictive, and because of that are thousands of people with obesity. She told us why it is so difficult to stop eating. Huh? Okay, so we definitely have some sentence errors in here. So let's look at it. Bouchak shows that processed food is addictive, and because it's addictive, right? So that is referring back to it being addictive. It's not a subject for this verb. So this verb doesn't have a subject, it's a fragment. Because of that, there are thousands of people with obesity. Now we have a comma, and then we're starting a new sentence. So that is comma splice. We can't do that. We have to stop. Okay, so now in the article, Bouchak shows that processed food, just fix that while we're at it, is addictive, and because of that, there are thousands of people with obesity. Okay, much better. Just 2 little changes. Okay, so she told us why it's so difficult to stop eating. She told us why is. We have a verb here with no subject. She told us why it is. So we have another fragment here. So you have to be really careful. I'm just guessing this is a Spanish speaker, so Spanish speaker error. So you always have to think in Spanish if you're saying es. In English you have to say it is, right? In Spanish, if you're saying I, you have to say there is, there are. You need that subject. Okay? She told us why it is so difficult to stop eating. It is very interesting how our brain works, comma. I have already read about this. So, here we have simple sentence, comma, simple sentence. So, this is a comma splice error. You can't put two sentences together with a comma. You need a conjunction. We could put a period, or we could add something like, let's just add a period. I can't think of a good conjunction for that. If I remember correctly, the sugar or carbs in the processed food is several times more addictive than cocaine. Okay, what kind of sentence is that? It is complex. We have our dependent clause first and our independent clause second. What does that mean? It means we need comma. If I remember correctly, the sugar or carbs in the processed food is several times more addictive than cocaine. That's why is. Es porque es. No, it is. So it's a translation error here. That is why it is so hard to stop eating. Like another fragment. Okay? That's why it is so hard to stop eating, as any other drug makes that the brain release dopamine, which make you happy. Okay. Should be which makes you happy. So now let's deal with the sentence problem. So the way I would fix this, I think, that's why it is so hard to stop eating. So you're saying food is like any other drug. So you want to say food or processed food. As any other drug. So this is what we call a parenthetical. You're giving a little bit more information, like describing processed food. Processed food, just like any other drug, right? We'd say, as with any other drug, makes the brain release dopamine, which makes you feel happy. Okay, now this is a good sentence. All right, so I hope going through and hearing how I think it through to make good, simple, compound, and complex sentences is helpful for you, and that's kind of the last phase in your editing. So after you've gone through and worked the ideas and the flow and put in all of your citations, that really comes first. And then the next level is to go back through your sentences and look for simple, compound, complex sentence errors. Make sure you can fix those. All right? Good luck.